was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hello, 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 everyone in Status Coup land. It is I, Joseph Francis, video director for Status Coup, filling in for Jordan yet another day. Jordan is heavily writing on his the breaking story that we've teased so much about. Obviously, a story like that, because there's so much footage and so much things to go over and so much sources and things. You want to make sure you get it right. He is getting it right. So right now, I am filling in for him for the third day in a row. And it's exciting because for the third day in a row, some really exciting topics to go with today. And it is great to be here with you. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I already see that we had one person. I always like to be in the chat right before just to see what everybody's talking about. Dana Fairbanks, please feel good. I understand when you get those headaches and those migraines, it's such a bad thing. Trust me, I understand that. Sometimes you can't look at the screen, and we got these lights and everything in here shining. If I had a migraine, I wouldn't be able to do it. Feel better, please. How is everybody on this Thirsty Thursday? I hope that you have a drink. I have mine. It's water in my trusty Star Trek shrine. Feeling good about that. Feeling like it's something that a Thirsty Thursday, you could drink whatever you want. So, we are here and we are tackling a lot of things in the world. Making sure that we stay true to status quo values and making sure that we are tackling stories that mainstream media isn't or doesn't want to, and calling them to the red carpet, because there's been some things that are being called to the red carpet. First and foremost, got to acknowledge definitely in the super chat, we got a $10 donation from Crush Renata. I hope I'm saying that right. I know you said watching the view could be mentally painful, but watching Tulsi yesterday made it worthwhile. Joy didn't think she would clap back on the show. Joy, you got to learn today. You gonna learn today. I love that. You gonna learn today. I love it. That's taking it back. I love that. You gonna learn. That's good stuff. Thank you very much for the $10 donation from that. Actually, I hadn't seen the video, but when I saw that in the super chat before we came live, it made me say, hey, maybe I want to check it out. And guess what? We are like, I feel like we should play it on the show and watch it for the first time. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you think we are there? So, first of all, Anthony Reyes, just want to say that Jordan will be back possibly Monday, but can I get a little love? Just a little bit? It's fine. It's fine. It's entitled. Everybody's entitled to have their preferences. And Colin, Star Trek, don't wear a red shirt. Red is my favorite color. Oh my God. What's going on? I don't understand that. I would love that. That's interesting. So, Stein. Yes, that is definitely how we pronounce it. So, as the title would suggest, we're going to get into a couple of things. We are going to get into more billionaire talk because all of a sudden, these billionaires are talking like they are scared. They're talking like they're scared, they're annoyed. They're like, "Oh, I don't like what's happening. I don't like what these politicians are saying. I might have to pay taxes." Not feeling at all bad for the latest mess talker, crap talker, Mr. Bill Gates, who, by the way, is a net worth of $108 billion. And I'll say that one more time. $108 billion. Not million, billion. Okay? He is there, and he's very scared by Elizabeth Warren talk. She is coming after him and anybody else, and he's a little shook. He looks a little shook. He also has the president of, I believe, CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase kind of backing him. And Elizabeth Warren, has AOC coming to her defense. So it's an interesting little dynamic there, considering that AOC just endorsed Bernie Sanders. But, you know, when something is right, it's right. You got to do what you got to do. Also, we're going to tackle some more polling numbers that I'm going to be honest with you. I just can't believe for any form of imagination that the polling numbers that I saw from Reuters earlier on this week are there. It doesn't make sense at all to me. So, it's just weird. So, that being said, there's some polling numbers we're going to get into. We're going to look at that. Weird. Also, a couple article that I came across that I feel like we got to bring up on the air is, you know, baby boomers making more than millennials, which is a very interesting topic to me because I'm actually on the beginning end of millennials. I think the millennials generation began in, I believe it was about 1977, 78. I was born in 1980. So, you know, I'm considered technically a millennial, but that's an interesting dynamic there. Also, talking about the fact that the United States businesses, consumers, whatever you want to call it, but mostly the businesses, are losing the war against China in this tariff war. I know it's been touched on a little bit in the media, but all day long, all you heard was Trump and Rudy Giuliani and impeachment and blah, blah, blah. I was like, do you guys know that there's more news happening in the world? I don't know. I don't think they know. I think they're kind of out of it. So, before we get on to that, because I like to start off the show that way, this way, I always like to start off with this way is, you know, if you have not liked the video or subscribed to the channel, because there's been some interaction with YouTube and, you know, we're constantly trying to fight that good fight, you know, please subscribe to our channel. Please like the like button, the thumbs up button right below the video where you're watching. Also, want to say hello. I believe it's about 35 viewers on Twitch at this present moment. Actually, 32 viewers went down. It's kind of going fluctuating. But Twitch, obviously, our third day streaming on Twitch. A lot of people are saying that Twitch apparently notifies people a lot better than YouTube. I'm not sure if that's the case. We're obviously going to take a look at that. We're going to be making sure that we keep an eye on that. So that's pretty good. So, yes, Diane Harris, I'm 37, technically a millennial. That's what I say. You know, like, technically, I'm a millennial. I'm 38. I'm going to be 39 December 18th. It blew my mind, you know. I just don't know. But, Dr. R, thank you very much. I'm trying to fill some big shoes here, you know. So, keep staying true to myself while we're on this stream, because that's the only way I know how to come correct is just being myself, being real. So, you know, here's the thing. If you haven't, you know, followed us and joined us on things, well, this is the way it is. This is what it is. Obviously, always like the live stream. Obviously, we want you to follow us on Twitter if you have a Twitter handle. Obviously, we want you to follow us on Instagram for, you know, Instagram.com/statusquo. Now we're on Twitch. If you want to go that route and follow us and get a Twitch account and follow us, you could even watch without a Twitch account, I believe. You know, that is definitely a distribution method that we're also going to be doing. But we also want you to send us your email so that way we can keep you in the know of what's going on. If you're on our mailing list, you're going to get information other people are not. And last but not least, look, this is the way we love the GoFundMe, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But this is the way we grow in the long term. The membership. Right now we're at 728. We are going to try to get that number up to 800, then 900, then 1,000. The goal is 1,000 by the new year. That would be a really great goal. So we're looking at that, and we're doing that. But as I said before, GoFundMe. GoFundMe is always the way that we grow in the process. And right now, 4 hours ago, want to say thank you very much to Sawan Brico. I hope I'm saying that name right. Once again, I apologize all the time for the $5 donation in the GoFundMe. That is definitely helpful, and we appreciate it, and we love you for it. So, let's get into the story. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get into all this good stuff, because good stuff is a great thing. And really, before we get into the story, I just want to, this comment caught my eye. TB, we in Generation X are old farts now. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. That's not true. You're only as old as you feel, but that is funny. I like that. I like that vigor. Definitely want to say, and what's up, John Wick? Still love that name. I love the movie. It's awesome. Want to get into the first thing, which is the Billionaires Club. The Billionaires Club, right? So I don't know if you guys happened to be around when this happened, but the Billionaires Club, they're a little scared right now. There's a lot of talk that all the Democratic candidates, and most of them, except for Biden and people who are supporting Wall Street and not really fighting Wall Street, most of them, Warren, Bernie Sanders. I've even heard Buttigieg say it. I'm saying his name wrong. Pete, good old Pete. Andrew Yang has mentioned it that, hey, it is, we can't have companies not paying taxes, which is weird because he's a billionaire, but he's said it on multiple occasions. Here's the bottom line. Most candidates are saying that companies like Amazon, companies like Google, companies, I believe Microsoft was another one not paying a lot of taxes, that these companies are making so much money and need to pay taxes, okay? They have not paid taxes. They have not said anything. They have not done their share. And their argument is always, hey, we're employing tens of thousands of people. We are making products in the world that are making your lives better. And so we shouldn't have to pay taxes. And I made the point yesterday, going back to that, is that at the end of the day, if they paid taxes and employed these people, which, by the way, in order to have a company run smoothly, you got to employ people, right? And you paid taxes, they'd still be damn good. They'd still be good. They'd still be this is what they are. They still have money in the pocket. Jeff Bezos will still be top 2 or 3 in the world in terms of money, how much he has. But guess what? You'd be helping the United States of America be a better country for infrastructure and road work and, keeping our country at the forefront of technology and education and taking care of homelessness, all the things we talked about yesterday. New round, okay? New round. A new round in the budding of America, kind of going, kind of saying, hey, this is what's going on and this is what's happening. It's a new round for the people. And that new round is several billionaires have criticized the wealth tax proposal. President, candidate, and fellow lawmaker Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I love, she is amazing, is coming to her aid. The latest round started with, Jeff, JP Morgan Chase, chief executive officer, coming out and saying that Warren uses some pretty harsh words. She says that she vilifies successful people, and he comes out and says, I don't like vilifying anybody. We should applaud successful people. So here's the bottom line, and I'm going to stop right there and kind of bring the camera back to me, because at this point, I just want to say something. And I want to put this out there for anybody who might know or get this public relations of JP Morgan Chase and let them know and understand we're not vilifying rich people. We're vilifying people who have money and don't really give back and have sort of like, oh, we have these lackluster charities that we put in the public's eye just for face, but companies like Google and Amazon are contributing to homelessness and not paying taxes because once again, 2018, Amazon paid no taxes, none whatsoever. So, we're not vilifying the fact that you're successful. I love, and I said it on the air yesterday. If you're successful and you're smart enough to make a product or to make a service or provide a service to the people that gets you $1 billion, me personally, and I know everybody doesn't agree, but that's okay. But it is your obligation and duty, being that you are that successful, to help out society and pay your fair share of taxes. We're not vilifying successful people, Mr. CEO. We are vilifying people who don't contribute to what they're supposed to contribute. That being said, it goes on. Warren, who is in second place behind Joe Biden, we're going to get to that in a second, poll numbers that don't make any sense, but have unveiled a series of sweeping proposals to remake the U.S. economy, including her $21 trillion Medicare for All plan, which would create government-run healthcare system and abolishes private insurance. We're still she's flip-flopping on that, so I don't even know if that's accurate. But here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that she is basically coming after these billionaires and saying things, and they seem a little shook. They seem like this is what's going on. Like, how can you do this? What's going to happen? Well, guess what? The latest person in the billionaire war was Bill Gates. Okay? Bill Gates actually came out and said something, and it was so weird the way Bill Gates kind of said it, where it was just like, oh, we spend enough money and we do this and we shouldn't. And he made the comment that if he's taxed under Elizabeth Warren's plan, he will have to pay $100 million and he's gonna have to start counting his money. Wait a second. You're Bill Gates, okay? You're Bill Gates. You're Bill Gates. And here's the actual comment, because it's like really? Bill Gates, $108 billion net worth, second only to Jeff Bezos, right? Bill Gates. Former Microsoft founder Bill Gates to Leon Cooperman. The rich are continuing to worry about the impact of Warren's rhetoric against the wealthy and argued that her proposed tax structure is going to stifle innovation. Wow. Okay. So because you pay taxes, you're not going to be able to be innovative. In other words, it's going to affect your intelligence. It's going to affect your ability to come up with some new stuff. I understand he's very intelligent, one of the most intelligent human beings on the face of this planet, or in human history. I mean, he's done a lot, but isn't it more innovative to overcome this problem and still pay taxes? That way your legacy is not, oh, I got away from paying taxes, but now I am doing my part? Okay. Warren's plan hopes to enact a new annual tax of 2% on every dollar a household has above $50 million, which increases to 6% for households with more than $1 billion. She has stressed that the revenue generated for her wealth tax would go towards other federal programs like Medicare for All and her expanded Social Security. Okay? Bernie Sanders is very much on board with this. They're kind of different paths, but, he's saying unveiled his tax on extreme wealth plan back in September. He proposed would place a 1% tax on the top 1% of American households. That tax would start with 1% tax over net worth above $32 million for a married couple. That means a married couple with $32 million would pay a wealth tax of just $5,000. $5,000. $5,000. $5,000 to somebody with $108 billion that's not even a parking ticket. That's like a quarter in the meter. That's literally putting a quarter in the meter so you can park your car to a man like that. I don't even know if it's that. It might be a pack of 5 cents bazooka gum, which, if you're not as old as I am, you may not know what that is. But that being said, $5,000? Really? Okay, all right. I'm trying to bear with him here, but it is not really making it easy. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see where this is going. The tax rate under Sanders' plan would increase to 2% on households worth a net between $50 million and $250 million, 3% on net worth up to $500 million, 4% on new worth up to $1 billion. So on up to 8% on wealth over $10 billion. And this is the response to this. Gates lamented that while he was all for super progressive tax systems, he warned that the high levels of taxation could risk capital formation, innovation, and America's desirability as a hub of innovation for companies. Okay. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton called them unworkable. That's what she said. Although she's taking money from bigger companies, so she might be part of the problem. She is part of the problem. Let's just go on the record and say that. His answer, and this is what Bill Gates said, I've paid over $10 billion in taxes. If I had to pay $20 billion, it's fine. But when you say I have to pay $100 billion, okay, then I started doing the math up about what I would have left over. You really want the incentive system to be there, and you can go a long ways without threatening that. I'm going to say this. And Warren did respond to that comment as I would have responded. And she literally says, assuring him that the tax bill is not going to cost him $100 million. Like, that's not the case. It's not $100 million. And once again, if you look at the percentage, anybody who could do math knows that 8%, which is the max of what people would be taxed based on what I'm reading and what I've read, is not going to be his entire net worth. He's worth $108 billion. You do the math. What's 8% of $108 billion? Well, it's certainly not $100 million. Like, I don't even understand that. And that makes me say, okay, so you're just talking so that way you can, not be for this and you don't want to do your part. And what is going on? He said, I paid $10 billion in taxes already. He says he doesn't mind paying $20 billion. Okay. You know what? I'll give him credit for that and say that that's actually a step in the right direction. But you hear the whining and the crying from, you hear it like he's almost like these billionaires are like, I want to hold on to my money. I want to grip it. It's my money. It's like a 2-year-old. It's mine, mine, mine. Don't take my stuff away. They sound so childish. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, unbelievable. And by the way, if I said 100 million, it's 100 billion. I thought I said 100 billion. Billion with a B. Like B for buzz. Okay? And it's $108 billion that Bill Gates is worth. Like, what? I say to myself, and I think about this, and I think about this constantly. You have money. It is your responsibility to help out where you can. Bill Gates is saying, I don't mind paying $20 billion. Like I said, commendable to the sense that there are many billionaires. Jeff Bezos is like, I don't want to pay a dime. He has literally said multiple times, I don't want to pay a dime. It's my money. Other billionaires have said, I don't want to pay a dime. Okay? They don't want to pay a dime. So for him to say, I wouldn't mind paying another $10 billion. All right. I'll give him credit for that because that's like, all right, you're paying, your head's in the right place, but you're worried about what you're doing. But I think the worrying is misplaced. Like, dude, you can afford 8% of $108 billion. Billion with a B. Okay? And I think that that's unbelievably crazy. Right now, we got 180 people watching in the chat. If you have not hit the thumbs up button, we got 135 likes. Please do. That's how we get rid of the YouTube suppression, which I'm going to touch on. I've got another development there. Nothing crazy, but it's just information for those out there. And so please hit that thumbs up button down there. That's how people get seen. And for those watching on Twitch, just want to say, like us there as well. I believe Twitch, you can hit a like button and say this is good content. So, unbelievable to me that this story has happened, and this has something has it's just like, I just don't understand the skittishness. They're so scared, and it shows a sense of like, oh my God, I could lose everything that I've ever wanted. I could lose my fortune. I'm sorry, last time I checked, but Amazon isn't going anywhere. If anybody thinks that Amazon is going somewhere based on a divorce and based on, anything, it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's getting bigger. Okay, they are literally set to take over like the postal service. Like, they're literally saying their next plan over the next like 2 to 5 years is that they're not going to have the post office, UPS and FedEx, deliver for them. They're going to deliver for themselves. So last time I checked, Amazon ain't going anywhere. And if they're not going anywhere, that means their revenue is going to increase, which means you can afford it. That's the point. That's the point. I just, I don't even understand what the heck is going on. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Death Corey, the love of money is the root of all evil. That's the thing that the Bible got exactly right. Hey, the one thing I will say, once again, religion. I grew up in a religious family, Sunday school, Bible study, all that stuff I did when I was a kid. My grandmother, when I was 13 years old, said, you don't have to do it anymore. You've paid your penance. But God rest her soul, Nana, love you. She knows I think about her all the time. But at the end of the day, I will tell you this right now, that's kind of a good point. Money and greed, definitely. I've lost relationships over somebody borrowing money from me or me borrowing money from, and when I borrow money, I always pay back. But there's other people, they borrow money from you and then you never pay you back, and you have to chase them and you say, hey, you said you're going to pay me, and people get offended. Money turns people really bad. And I don't know, look, I'm sure Jeff Bezos goes to sleep at night and he just the money wipes away his tears, but it's really horrible. And it's horrible that, it's horrible that is the situation, that the billionaires are not saying, hey, we would love to pay more. Just, let's work something out where we're paying a percentage that's fair. You know what? 8% is fair. Okay? And Bernie Sanders thinks it's fair. Elizabeth Warren thinks it's fair. I think it's fair. Most people think it's fair. I think it's fair that not only do you pay the 8%, but you also employ 10 to 20,000 people. And the thing I worry about all the time, and this is the thing I'm going to worry about, and then I'm going to add the next layer of this, because it was one more layer of this, is that I'm very fearful, and this is a fear that I have, that everybody keeps saying, get Amazon to pay taxes, back taxes, and I want them to pay back taxes like they should. If I didn't pay taxes for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you better believe the IRS would be going, what you doing, Joseph? You ain't paying taxes. Pay it back or go to jail, right? Okay. Obviously, they've done it the legal way, that they've used the system for their own benefit. Fine, fair, okay. But here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that, at the end of the day, Amazon, and this is just a prediction, I think it's going to be a spoiler, but I'm going to tell you right now, do you think for 1 second that Amazon is going to pay those taxes and then later on and say, oh, well, we can't afford to employ 50,000 employees. We're going to lay off 10,000 people. and then eventually 20,000 people, and eventually 30,000 people because they're going to become automated. You don't think that that's going to be in the works? And their excuse and the road that they're going to play is, you made us pay taxes, this is the consequence. It's your fault. And that's what they're going to pay millions of dollars of publicity and marketing and all of that stuff. And I've worked in marketing departments. It's how I paid my way through college. I was a marketing manager and a marketing coordinator. It's what I did. And I heard a lot of BS for some of the companies I worked for, where you literally hear them say, well, they're saying this about our company, but, let's spin it so that we'll make it look like it was their fault. That's the bottom line. That's what they do, and that's what they're going to do, and I'm fearful of that. But still, I believe they need to pay the taxes. So, and once again, 177 watching. I don't know, it was at 180 before. 178 watching. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. That being said, also forgot to mention, sharing is caring. You know that I always say that. Like us and share us to the social media platform. We'll always do that at the beginning of the broadcast, because the more people you share, the more people might say, hey, this is something I've never heard of, let me click on it, and then they're hooked. I hope they're hooked. I hope I bring them in, that being said, the next step, the next sort of issue and thought here. And I love AOC. At AOC, you are amazing. Okay? You are amazing. You are an inspiration. I actually, a while ago, during her campaign, applied when she won. I applied for her video production / digital content manager. I was hoping I got that one. That was pretty awesome. But she is really awesome. I admire her. She is not perfect. Once again, and I've said this many times last week, she is not perfect. Nobody on this planet is. However, and I think the one complaint I've always had about her is that I love her energy. I love her gung-ho. I love her vigor. I want to see that. But I also said I want to see her kind of sit back and listen a bit and just watch the landscape. I think that's just something people should always do before they lash out or talk or whatever. I think you just kind of watch the landscape, pay attention, see what's up. And I noticed she started doing that more. Now it's more, you don't see her in the news as much because now she's starting to, I feel like she's busy, of course. Obviously, that job is cumbersome and it's a crazy, crazy job. But I feel like the pattern I see in the media for her is that she is kind of just watching the landscape. And then she comments and does her job and it says what she needs to say. But she definitely is inspirational. So she kind of clapped back at these billionaires. And I got to say, this was just a quick tweet, but it had me laughing. Y'all, and I love the y'all. That's y'all. Y'all billionaires are asking for a safe place. In addition to the entire U.S. economy and political lobbying industry. In other words, they already have a safe place. You already have a safe place. As you can see, I loved that tweet. They already have a safe place. So she's coming to the defense of Elizabeth Warren. Okay. And she just she did endorse Bernie Sanders for president. But she says, I think she recognizes, once again, she is a smart woman. She recognizes the landscape that, while Bernie is her candidate, she understands that, there is a bigger enemy here. The bigger enemy is the billionaires who think they could get away with stuff. And she recognizes that. And I like that. I like that strategy that she comes across. And she's, even though she came out and said, hey, Bernie's my guy, doesn't mean she can't defend somebody who who's got a point. And that's the bottom line. She defended Elizabeth Warren, although Bernie Sanders is her candidate. And I love that because that's what we need to have in this Democratic race. In my opinion, I believe that the Democratic race needs to be an understanding that there are bigger fish to fry. Okay? You can't get stuck on one particular topic. You do that, we're going to have 2016 all over again. End all be all is that Mr. Orange has to go. He has to go for many reasons. Environment, economy, We're going to get to that in a little later on. We're going to try not to mention his name a lot in that story, but it is viable. And just like respect of the United States and the world. Like, those are the three main reasons. He needs to go very close fourth. I don't like somebody who lies all the time. I don't trust him, and I don't like it. It's not cool. Like, I tell people that are closest to me in my life, don't lie to me. I handle the truth very well. A lie is not, that just shows that you're unreliable and untrustworthy. Why would you want to have any of that in your life? So, I will say that at the end of the day, this is kind of crazy. It's just like, I loved that she defended her, and I loved that she did that. It was a very good thing. Hey, Sydney Samashra. Am I saying Sam Shra? Okay, Samsara. I am so bad with names. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Sydney. But hey, how you doing? So, that being said, I love that she defended Warren because it shows that she has the ability to adapt. It shows that she just sees the bigger picture. It shows that she is in a place that most, like, our Democratic candidates need to be, which is, yeah, we're doing a little bickering, and yeah, during debates, we're kind of going at each other. But when it's said and done, it's kind of like when you have a family, right? And I don't know, I know people have big families out there. I have a smaller family, but I understand this rule. I'm going to fight with my brothers and cousins and sisters. I don't have brothers and sisters, but I'm going to fight with my cousins and my, parents and aunts and uncles. I'm going to fight with them. But if somebody comes from the outside and fights with them, I'm going to literally turn around and stand by them. Because family is, they say blood is thicker than water. Well, guess what? The Democratic Party has to be first. And obviously, AOC recognizes Elizabeth Warren has a lot of things that she agrees with, including the war on billionaires. So that is generally what I do. So, I know a lot of people don't like Warren, and I get it. But the one thing I will say about Warren is that she does have, and once again, Jordan's been critical of her. I've been critical of her. She flip-flops. She says 1 minute I have Medicare for all, the next minute she says it's a framework, and it's like, what do you mean by that? There's a lot of just kind of But what I will say is, when it comes to billionaires, Warren's kind of on the same page of Bernie Sanders. There's minor differences, but they both say the same thing. Billionaires need to pay taxes. And the one thing, Biden's not saying that. Mr. Orange is not saying that. So, at the end of the day, I give her credit for that. So, yes, and Sydney said, "Good, doing good, got the name. Thank you. Got it. I'm so great with it." So, Joe Machinin, Henry says, Joe Machinin does not believe in what you're talking about, Joseph. Fair enough. People are entitled to have their own opinion. I always say that I love getting into debates with people. I love to hear different people's perspectives on what things doing. I have a friend of mine who, just as a quick side note, every time I say I'm a Yankees and Mets fan, he says, how could that be possible? Yeah, well, it's possible. I love New York. New York is my home. So I root for all things New York. That being said, policies are different, Joseph, from Jermaine? I'm looking at the two. It's like a J and an E, and yeah, so bad. Policies are different. Well, I feel like there's differences, but they have the same talking point, which is billionaires need to pay taxes. Okay? There are different ways they're doing it, but billionaires need to pay taxes. Okay, so, once again, watching and you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. We want to get as many subscribers as possible. And definitely, and this is something we really, really, really want and need, because it is something that is important to get out there in the field, is our GoFundMe. We are less than $3,600 to $85,000, but more importantly, we're trying to get to $82,000. If you got $1, $5, $10, we would very much appreciate it. It's how we grow Status Quo. It's how we get out there in the field which we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks and months, going out into the field and covering things that you are not going to see anywhere else. So that is super important. If you can donate, we would love it very much. Obviously, at the very least, like us, share us, and sharing is caring. But GoFundMe, we'd love that so much. So, the next story is very interesting to me. There was a series of tweets the other day that I thought was very interesting. And I thought, it's just something that I believe kind of follows up on what we've been talking about the last couple of days. In the last couple of days, there's been a lot of poll numbers that I've said a million times, don't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense to me at all in terms of what these poll numbers suggest and what they are. And, one of the things that I want to say is that we got some polls the other day, and the polls were, kind of like saying that, Biden was a distant, like they were saying that there was a distant, Biden should be in the lead, or Biden is tied with Bernie Sanders, or Biden is doing the numbers that don't make sense to me because Biden has so many chinks in the armor, which we talked about yesterday. Not going to go into it again. But, and yesterday CNN put out that poll, which put out that video, and, I love it. I have to play it. In case you guys weren't on yesterday, I got to play this and got it to work and everything is good. But, I love the way Jake Tapper has that surprised voice about Biden because, Biden was CNN's guy. This is what happened.
That surprised me. A new poll out of Iowa among Democratic likely caucus goers. It has Warren at 20%, Buttigieg at 19%. I mean, that's in the margin of error. Sanders at 17%, also in the margin of error. Biden is in fourth place at 15%, and that's followed by Klobuchar and Harris, and then there's a three-way tie at the bottom. Joe Biden in fourth place in Iowa is staggering, and also that Buttigieg
right.
bump that people are talking about, that's real.
That is real, and when it comes to Biden, his campaign for a while now.
I love that. I love that. I love it that he is, Jake Tapper's so shocked. He's so shocked. And it's still, I looked at it twice today and I'm like, this is hilarious. They're so shocked. Biden is losing. Well, we got another round of polls today from Reuters this time saying that Biden is actually in the lead by a considerable amount. Biden is in the lead. Wait, what? Biden is in the lead. And you look at that and it came from Reuters and it's just amazing to me, like how this is the case. But they broke it down in a couple of situations. They broke it down in a way that were different categories. So one of the things that you see is that Biden, according to Reuters right now, is at 22%. Sanders is at 15% and Warren is at 11%. Followed by Buttigieg and Harris, Yang, and 24% that don't know. Okay? So when you're looking at these numbers, and I'm going to tell you right now, looking at these numbers, once again, the first question I always ask whenever you see polls, is who are they interviewing? Who are they polling? Where are they polling? What is the information here? Okay? And you look at that and you say, it's hard to tell. It's a national poll among Democrats, Democrat leading independents, So where are they polling this? Are they polling the old folks' homes? No offense to old people and no offense to people over the age of 65. My mother is 65. She's actually 66. Sorry, Mom. But at the end of the day, why is Biden at 22%? Have people been paying attention? Chinks in the armor. More chinks in the armor. And you know what I find very weird is that other polls are saying Warren is leading. Other polls are saying Warren is second. Other polls are saying that Biden is second. Obviously, CNN put out this poll that Biden is fourth. That makes sense to me. Okay, yet Jake Tapper was super surprised. He was like, "Oh my God, fourth place?" It's like, has anybody been paying attention? But in this poll, Biden's leading. And not just leading in a substantial way. Like, oh my God. And by the way, thank you very much to Colin for that graphic, putting together the graphics and also the graphics that I'm about to show, because there's other categories. That was the general lead, okay? That was it. Biden leaving 22%. But not just that. On healthcare, you know, like, I'm going to go healthcare here. No, actually, I'm going to go beating Trump. Biden is 29% likely to beat Trump, followed by Sanders at 16% and Warren at 11%. Now, let me get this straight. We know what Trump is going to do. We know what Mr. Orange is going to do. We know his strategy with Biden and Warren. We know that he's going to literally come out and say, Biden, can you finish a sentence? You lied about your son. You're a crook. You're in Ukraine's pocket. He's going to say all that stuff. That's what he does. He's going to harp on it. He's going to pick on it. That's what he does, right? He's going to continue to do this. But at the end of the day, if you know that, and if people they're polling know that, because that's what they're doing, how is he going to be the one to beat him? It's going to galvanize his base because Biden is going to he's going to link Biden to Hillary Clinton. And then at the end of the day, it's going to give Mr. Orange the edge because at the end of the day, they're going to say, oh, you're a liar. You're the ultimate Democrat. You're this, you're that, you're this. And he's going to do that. And now, by the way, he's going to do that with Warren too because Pocahontas, you lie, you flip-flop, blah, 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 yada, yada. And that's it. With Bernie, he's going to say, you're a socialist. You're a socialist. You're a socialist. And I love our promo video where the guy says, you know, Jordan, great reporting there, said, hey, are you on Social Security? And the guy goes, yeah, I am. And he goes, you know, that's a socialist program that FDR implemented in the 40s. And the guy goes, that's besides the point. Of course, all the people that are supporting Mr. Orange and don't really want socialism, they want the socialist programs. They just don't want, you know, they're just scared of what's going to come. They think we're going to turn into Venezuela, which is not happening. That we're not even close to that. And by the way, none of these programs take us to the route of Venezuela. Like you look at Bernie's website, you look at Warren's website, they say the things that you hear. They spell it out and it makes sense. Okay. I've been the one personally that said, there's some of the things that I worry about, are they going to be able to do? But I would certainly like to see them try. So, but now it gets a little funny because this is the part that doesn't make sense. So we're going to go back to the first one. The first one is Biden at 22%, right? But then let's look at the economy. Sanders, best plan for the economy, 21%. Biden, 21%. Has Biden even said his plan for the economy yet? Please, anybody in the chat, if Biden has put out a plan for his economy, please let me know because I didn't see that. You know, that doesn't make sense to me. But at the end of the day, it's just like, are you kidding me? This is what's going to happen? No, it doesn't make sense to me. Sanders is at 21% tied with Biden, yet Sanders has spelled out his plan for the economy. He's kind of laid it out there. He's like, go to my website. It's there. I've read it. Most of it makes sense. Most of it seems achievable. There's one or two points that I go, ooh, that's a little tough. I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. But once again, would like to see him try. And then healthcare. Bernie Sanders is at 28% on healthcare. Warren is at 20%. And Biden is at 18%. So now, let me just backtrack for a second. You're saying that that the economy, you believe Sanders is just as good as Biden. You're saying that the healthcare plan is way better than Biden's, yet Biden's polling at 22%? Huh? How does it make sense that two of the biggest issues, including The third biggest issue, which is to beat Mr. Orange, that Sanders is pretty much neck and neck. You know, although people say that Biden is more likely to beat Trump, how does it make sense that he is at 22%? I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me at all. That's ridiculous. That's like, okay, so you're saying that this guy has a better plan, this guy has a better plan, but we're going to go with that guy? So that makes me say, one, are these numbers correct? Are these numbers accurate? I don't know. Two, who are you polling? Because if you're polling somebody that says statement A, which is, I believe Bernie Sanders has the best medical insurance plan. B, I believe Bernie Sanders has the equally or the best health, like best plan for the economy. But I think Biden can beat Trump, so I'm going to go with him. Is that what we're doing here? That seems like the formula that happened here. I don't know. That was a little weird to me. It's a little weird to me. And multiple people saying the polls are rigged. And multiple people saying, Sydney, Biden doesn't make plans. Biden implements donors' plans. Exactly. Because he's kind of saying, give me money. Because we all know he's bleeding right now. Money, he's signing up to take $2,800 pictures. And by the way, I'll say it again. I would never pay $2,800, even if I was a billionaire, to take a picture with Biden. I'm going to reserve $2,800 to take a picture with LeBron James, or $2,800 to take a picture with Kobe, or somebody like that, Derek Jeter, somebody who I like, you know. Yeah, Eminem. I don't know. That's what I would pay. If I had to pay money, I would do that. But that being said, you know, Steve Smith, Biden supporters simply believe that this is the case. And guess what? That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. It's not true that this, you know, a lot of people say that it's not true that, like, you know, it's, and I got a little distracted here. Something popped in my ear. But, you know, Biden says that he is the one to beat Trump. I don't believe it. He has too much chinks in the armor. And I don't believe you can have somebody who's equally dishonest go up against Mr. Orange. Because every time that person says, well, Mr. Orange, you've been dishonest every single day of your life, all he's going to do is kind of do a Pee Wee Herman argument. I know you are, but what am I? That's literally what he's going to do. I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? Like, that's what Trump does. It's like really crazy. That being said, I would love to know what you guys think. I've seen a lot of great comments about the polls being rigged, and Biden is Black Monty Burns. Biden is a human lava lamp. Wow. I love that. Excuse me. He is a human lava lamp. Love that. That's so great. But I've said it before and I've said it again. Bernie won my support. He won my respect as just a regular guy, as just somebody who seems like he's telling the truth, has never, as far as I know, has never had a issue, has never had situations like that. Anything that I could say, oh man, you lost me. You know, Kamala Harris lost me. Her justice issues, no. I can't support somebody sending an innocent man to jail and not coming back and saying, yeah, I made a mistake. I can't do that. And Warren flip-flops a lot. She says one thing 1 minute and then 2 or 3 years later says another thing. And I know, I get it. She's trying to play like, this is where I'm going. I want to go this route. But at the end of the day, not really. So here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, and I love this, and the last thing I'll say on this is that at the end of the day, whoever the primary candidate winner is, I believe, this is just my belief, that person needs 100% support. Because Mr. Orange is the worst, bigger fish that needs to be fried. That being said, so I kind of feel like I want to play that Tulsi Gabbard video. I don't know if has anybody said, that they want to see it. I haven't seen it. So I haven't really seen what that video is. Either I haven't seen much requests, so I'm going to get to the next topic really quick. And if you want to hear that video, I am not opposed to playing it on the air, so put it in the chat. It's so crazy because there's 202 likes. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And once again, the most important thing at this moment, obviously membership is the way we grow in the long term, but the GoFundMe is what we need. The GoFundMe, we would like to get to 200. We would like to get to 82,000 in the next day or so, in the next couple of days. So that would be great. Obviously, we're so close to the 85,000. We've come so far. Most of it was before I was here. If you have $5, $10, whatever you can afford, send a donate now at the GoFundMe page. Whoever is in the chat, I believe it's Jen. Jen, please put that GoFundMe link in that chat. It would be great to see that. So, the next topic I want to get to just really quick is, I'm going to kind of switch it up. I want to end it on the last story. But, in the last, month, there's obviously been a lot of conversations about the trade war and what it is and what it can be. But at the end of the day, the United States has been in a situation where trade war back and forth with China. And you kind of, I remember, it's so funny because once again, I always like to joke that South Park and Simpsons tell the story, but I remember there was an episode back in 2008 or 7 or something where they were like, China is going to try to own the United States and that's going to happen. And now we're in this trade war with them. And, one of the things I do believe is that, it's money. It's talking about money. And they're not talking about billions. They're talking about trillions between the two countries. So, that being said, something that really stands out to me, and I wanted to put this out there, and I noticed it wasn't really covered today in the mainstream media. You look at that, U.S. consumers and businesses paid a record $7.1 billion with a B dollars in tariffs in September, 1 month, due largely to President Orange trade war with China, according to analysts of the federal data released on Wednesday. So this is the bottom line. We're paying more in taxes, okay? 4.1 billion of the 7.1 billion in import taxes paid by Americans in September were levied through tariffs that Mr. Orange imposed on Chinese goods since 2008. The total amount of the tariffs paid by Americans has increased 59% since 2018 in September and rose 600 million since August 2009, according to analytics. Okay, so you look at that, and here's the funny part about that. The funny part about that is that we were supposed to get benefits from this. Obviously, yet another situation that our glorious Mr. Orange has totally screwed up, totally just dropped the ball. But now, this country paid $7.1 billion, an increase of 59%. So the question I have for everybody is, where do you think that's going to end up coming out? At what point do you think that's going to impact the U.S. economy or impact U.S. consumers? Okay, when are prices going to start raising? When are gas prices start going to raising? When are things going to start raising to accommodate these companies having to pay more taxes for imports and exports and things of that nature? When is that going to happen? Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I want to say, at the end of the day, and we've had a couple people talking about the Tulsi Gabbard. I'm going to play that video because I actually want to see it. I have not seen it. So at the end of the day, here's the bottom line. Now we're paying more taxes. So this battle is making us pay more taxes. And what's going to happen? This battle is going to make the prices on things go up. Can we not see the formula? We've seen it before. We were in a war in Iraq and everybody said, we're going to get oil and prices are going to go down. I remember, and I don't know if anybody was driving in 2003, but in 2003, gas was $1 a gallon. I remember I filled up my tank for $15. I was like, this is spectacular. And then the war happened and stuff started getting destroyed as that's what they told you. Oh, oil refineries are getting destroyed because of blah, blah, blah. It went from $1 to $2.50 in the span of 2 months. And never went back down. Never went back down. It hasn't gone under $2.20 since then. Okay, and now it's at $2.67, has reached $3. I mean, this is the bottom line. The bottom line is that at the end of the day, we saw those taxes. These companies are not going to lose money. They're not. They're just going to raise their prices on their goods, and we're going to see it. So, Mr. Genius with his economic brain, Mr. Orange, once again, not so economic. It's kind of like, selling a bunch of Trump steaks or Trump University, which didn't turn out so well. So I wanted to throw that out there because that is a story that is just like ridiculous when it comes to what is happening. So, and I'm going to take a second to drink some water. That is absolutely amazing. And if I'm reading this correctly, this is ridiculous. So I just got this notice from Jen and Jordan. If they could put that in the chat, this would be great. The New York Times article. Michael Bloomberg is expected to file for an Alabama 2020 presidential primary. He's jumping into the race. Really? Oh, man. I'm laughing because didn't we have enough New York City mayoral embarrassment? Seriously? Really? I remember I saw an interview with Bloomberg about maybe, it was about 6 months ago. And he had a lot of, he was talking about it. He's like, I have these ideas and this idea and this is that. And I remember hearing him talk and I was like, you know what? Yeah, there's some good ideas there, but you're still out of touch with a lot of things. And you didn't really do much as a mayor of New York City. He didn't do much. He was a Republican, moved to being a Democrat, and he doesn't have the it factor, and you're so late in the game. How does he think in any way, shape, or form that he's going to do anything but divide Democrats even more? He's going to take 2 to 4% of the Democratic voters from the people to this. That gives me a headache. That really gives me a headache. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my God. That is just so ridiculous. I love Black Monty Burns. Bloomberg said, roll tide. That's his campaign strategy. Oh my God. Why? And he said it. He said, look, I will jump into this race if I feel the candidates are not doing what needs to be done. I just want to understand something. Why can't people get on the Bernie bandwagon? I want to know that. I want to ask the audience that because I don't see why that's so difficult. I don't get it. I feel like it's something personal. I feel like it's such a personal thing. It is just ridiculous. Oh my God. That was horrible. They simply wanted to add a president to candidate to the status on the golf course. Seriously, that's what it seems like to me. Becca, thank you for that, because that's what it seems like to me. Oh my God. Why is he doing this? Why is, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is just not good. I just don't understand that. So, that being said, we're going to move on from that. We're going to move on. I'm going to play this Tulsi Gabbard video because I want to hear what she has to say because I feel I've seen the interview Jordan did with her. I've seen her in other things, but at the end of the day, I feel like I don't know what Tulsi Gabbard has said. So I want to play that. I'm going to play that right now.
So, before I ask you the first question, what's happening with the telescope and the stuff?
Oh gosh. The challenge is ongoing. The challenge is ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
So
Just explain.
they decided, it was decided that they were going to go on sacred land.
Oh, yeah. I remember this.
And put up a telescope and do all this stuff. And the Hawaiians said, no, you're not going to do that. So it's been a fight. Tulsi's been at the forefront. Yeah. And I try to bring it up,
I remember.
when I can, because I think sacred land is sacred land.
Yeah.
You can't, you can't
Anywhere.
mess with it. So So I have to ask you this
glad you
instead.
did.
So we were just talking about EU Ambassador Sondland changing his testimony yesterday, that he had to be refreshed about quid pro quo, and you've been skeptical more than a lot of the Democrats about the impeachment inquiry. Were you surprised by what he did yesterday?
Well, look, the facts are important, and we'll get to that. I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts, because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you the question?
Yeah.
No, look, some of you
Ask me the
have
question.
accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a
we haven't accused you.
useful idiot, I think was the
Well,
term that you
useful.
used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack
That's a
intelligence
Russian
to
term.
know what's going
They
on.
use that.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
All right.
Set the record straight. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country. It was the attacks on 9/11.
Well, I guess we're getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves, but Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. He doesn't find me refreshing. Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you.
Joy, this is why
I mean,
this
you're
is why I'm
on Tucker
here.
Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here, because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Well, Hillary
that have
Clinton
nothing to
started
do
it,
with
and then
who
you
I
shot
am.
back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. I've served now for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East during the height of the war, where every single day I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. It's why I ran for Congress.
We actually have the clip of Hillary Clinton, just to put this in
Just
context
put it
of
in
what we're
context.
talking about. Let's take a look at that.
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of, sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. That's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
So
Really? I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. I've served as a member of Congress now for almost 7 years, receiving high-level national security and intelligence briefings, serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, working to ensure the safety and security of the people of this country. This is why I'm running for president, to continue that commitment of service.
So are you surprised, though, that when people see bots and things and all the things that we've sort of been seeing heading your way, that people have these questions? Because she's not the only one. Hillary, I don't think, is the only one. So what she's saying is she feels they are grooming you. You're saying nobody's grooming me. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm a soldier and a patriot.
It's offensive to me as a soldier, as an American, as a member of Congress, as a veteran, and frankly, as a woman, to be so demeaned in
But you
such
called
a way.
her the personification of rock.
So demeaned
She's a woman,
in such
too.
a way. Well, I'm pointing to the fact that she has continued this legacy of being the world's police around the world, that has waged wars costing the lives of thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform. I'm speaking out against that, and
What's
to
your evidence
change
to that?
to change.
Well,
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
I served in the war
Not
in
you,
Iraq.
her. You're saying that she's-
exactly.
she's a
I
warmonger.
served
How do
in
you
the
come
war
up with
in
that?
Iraq
Yeah.
that she championed. She championed a regime change
Did
war
you not
in
believe
Libya.
in that war?
I believe the lies that were told to us.
Well, so did she.
Look, it is indisputable. It is indisputable to say anything other than the fact
Well, this- can I-
that
can I
Hillary,
say
let me just close this out, that Hillary Clinton throughout her career has led with a foreign policy of interventionism and being the world's police, going and toppling dictators in other countries that has caused such destruction and loss of life. I'm against that. I'm running for president to change that. Rather than actually debate me on the issues, she and others are resorting to these smear tactic campaigns, seeking to undermine me, smear my character, and sending a message to anyone who dissents, toe the line, or you too will be smeared.
First of all, love that fire. Love it. Somebody, one of the things I believe, I'm going to take off my glasses for this one. One of the things I believe, I come from Brooklyn and Queens. And if I walk up to you and call you a liar and you run away, you lying. But if you call me a liar, you damn well better believe that I'm going to call you out and say, no, I'm not lying. Let's go face to face. I'm not backing down. So really quick, and I saw some comments in the chat. Yeah, unfortunately The View, I'm not a fan of The View, but The View is the one who actually had the interview. So that's why I wanted to play that. That was a great interview, because I want to see somebody, if you call me a Russian spy, I want to see you come out and say, nope, that's not the case. That's not who I am. I'm insulted. I'll confront her face to face publicly. That's what I want to see. Anybody who has ever lied on camera in the media has lied and then said, I didn't do it, and you don't ever hear them really deny it. They just shift. They just move. They put it on another topic. Guess what? She said it. Hillary's a liar. Hillary's smearing my campaign, her and others. That's not who I am. I'm a military serviceman. I'm here to change this. I've served this. I did that. And at the end of the day, she said it to Joy Behar, which, by the way, is Joy Behar in a relationship with Hillary Clinton? Because she's supporting her like, oh my God, like, Miss Behar, like, get over it. Hillary lost. We don't want to talk about Hillary. Her time is over and done, and we don't want to support her. It's done. She had an opportunity in 2008, lost in the primaries. She had an opportunity in 2016, lost to Mr. Orange, which was a disaster, which was her fault. She didn't go to key states, and it was 100% her fault. So, at the end of the day, loving the fact that she defended herself and stood up for what she believed in. That was a great interview. She put Joy Behar in her place, because that woman, like, how are you defending? Like, the woman is in your face saying, it wasn't me. That's not what I stand for. And rather than back down and say, you know what? I gotta believe her. She comes off authentic, which is the way I read it. Guess what? She said, no, well, Hillary did it. It's Hillary's fault. So, that was a great one. That is actually a very, very good. I'm glad we showed that. I'm glad if we weren't going to show it today, we were going to show it and there. And Lawrence Johnson cheated and lost. Yeah, very much. Warren's in a relationship with Hillary. Hey, I'm Big Delicious Pickle. That is a weird name. I would like to know the story behind that. That is funny, though. Pickle Rick, maybe? I don't know. But yes, it's a horrible thing if somebody comes at me and says, like, I had somebody come to me and say, and I'll just say this little personal story. I had somebody come to me and say I was a racist at one point. Before they knew, like, my ethnic background, they were like, you're racist. And I was like, I stood up immediately and said, very offended that you said that. And people who know me know that if I get offended, I let you know it. I'll let you know it. Like, that's the way I am. I'm always very blunt and in your face like that. I don't believe there's anything that I have to ever hide behind. And this person said that and told me the reason why. And I said, no, you misunderstood. And I cleared it up. And that person was, at the end, apologized and said, I didn't understand it. Now I do. Thanks for clearing it up. That's the bottom line. When somebody's lying, and this is something we don't see Mr. Orange ever do, and it's something that Biden didn't do. When somebody's lying, they clear it up, and they want to go on the record to clear it up. They're not hiding. They're not deflecting. They're not doing, you know what they're doing? They're saying clearly, plain and simple, no, that's not what it's for. Kudos to Tulsi. Kudos to Tulsi. I give her credit. She really got on it, and it's very sad because she's not doing well in the numbers, but at the end of the day, I feel like people should like take a second look at her. I feel like before the other candidates, Buttigieg and Harris and Steyer, I feel like they should take a look at her. That was actually very impressive. Definitely want to say that I love, really quick want to touch on this. I love the fact that YouTube, we have 227 likes. I never saw the viewership go over 190. So maybe I'm missing something, but how do you get 227 likes if it never went over, let's just say 200? That is just like really, really ridiculous. So, Yusuf, at Joseph, this is the political equivalent of saying, I have a black friend. I 100% agree. That is 100% true. How does your ethnic background exempt you from possibly being racist? Because the person, and I'll tell you the little story, the person who said that I was being racist said I was being racist to Puerto Ricans, and I am Puerto Rican. So I just want to educate a few people on you can be racist against your own kind, but it's highly unlikely. Because no, I wasn't being racist. They were saying that because at the end of the day, I made a joke that actually the person laughed at and said, oh, that is pretty funny. So that being said, just wanted to clear that up. Yes, people can be racist of all colors and finds. I actually had somebody who was Puerto Rican who hated her own kind. But at the end of the day, that's very few and far between. It says very rare. I don't know. I haven't seen that much of that. So I thought that was great. I thought, I'm impressed with Tulsi Gabbard. Like, that was an impressive interview. So last thing I want to touch on, and this is something that I wanted to touch on last night and didn't get a chance to, and I'm going to do it now just because I feel like it's something that's important. It's the baby boomer versus the millennial discussion, because this is important, and I believe that I think it's important. I think it's something that I find very interesting and very fascinating because, I'm a millennial and I feel like baby boomers are in a sense of power that they don't want to give up. Like, they ran this country for the better part of 40 years, for after World War II, and they believed it was this country, and now they're in a state where it's not their time to really run the country. They have to give it over to the next generation. And there's definitely resistance. There's definitely they have the power. They don't want to give it up. They have the money. They don't want to give it up. And I'm not saying they have to give it up, but definitely make room for new innovations and new opportunities and support people who are in that realm. And guess what? I'm going to tell you right now, you don't get that attitude. You don't get the attitude of that situation. So, one of the things I will say is that this is a situation that I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to talk about in what is going on. Okay. So one of the things is this article that came across that it's talking about. That's just me talking. That's what we have to do. That way I can look at the chat. But millennials are facing a shortfall compared to other generations when it comes to their paychecks. Overall, millennials earn 20% less than baby boomers did at the same stage of life, according to the Emergency Millennial Wealth Gap, a recent report from a nonprofit. Median earnings from those 18 to 34 are lower than they were in the 1980s, a disparity that was first noted in 2017 report from the nonprofit Young Invincibles. That is a spiked overall higher education levels. Nearly 40% of the millennials 25 to 37 have at least a bachelor's degree compared to just a quarter of the baby boomers and 30% of the Gen X where they were at the same age. And here's the thing that you got to understand. You got to understand that this is the headline. Millennials earn 20% less than the baby boomers did despite being better educated. That's a pretty situation. That's an interesting situation because obviously you would think more education leads to more money, more pay, better opportunities, more situations that lead to a higher paying job. I mean, that's the way the formula has been in the history of mankind. But Lower pay, slowing long-term wealth. Lower income levels are already having a long-term impact on millennials' ability to accumulate wealth, either through savings or home equity. Millennials are going to be a complete lower trajectory than the previous generations. This is what the comment comes from the director of Millennials Innovation. The generation wealth gap has really reached historic proportions. The average millennial's wealth in 2016, aged 23 to 38, was 41% less than those who were a similar age in 1989. Now, I will tell you right now, that strikes home to me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. And once again, just want to throw this out there just for the sake of throwing this out there. If you haven't liked us, you haven't shared us, please do, because that is what we want. That's where we could get it. And understand that how we grow is through membership. How we grow is through our GoFundMe. How we grow is through all the things that help us to get out there and bring you articles and bring you the stories that matter to you that are not being covered in the mainstream media. Definitely love that. But membership is how we grow in the long term. But I wanted to talk about this story really briefly because I too have been in that situation where I graduated from college, expected to get a job, took me about a year and a half to get a job after college. And I know so many people that have gone unemployed, that have been unemployed for more than a year, almost 2 years. I know a couple of people that were 3 years unemployed and working in a business where you're not necessarily getting paid and you're not necessarily getting the money you were, and they have the experience that the older generation had. My industry, video production, is a little, it's very much the signal of that, where if you go to any major set, a Marvel set, a Disney set, a MGM set, those major studios where there's thousands of people working to bring you the films that you see in the movies, most of the people working in prestigious positions are over the age of 50. 100%. The rest are in their 40s. You rarely, and you will see it, production assistants and lower level interns, you'll see them in their 20s and 30s, but it's very, very, like, what you notice is that it's just interns and production assistants. And I can talk from that perspective because that's what I've been through. I've been through that. I've actually had to go work for free on major studios sets, and you go on there and you're just trying to get experience, and then when you try to get that job and you apply, they never call you. They never say, well, this is what it is. So when I listen to that, when I hear that article, it made me say, how is it possible that we are more educated in today's day and age, yet we're getting paid less and we are not being given our due? We're putting in the work, we're getting the education, but we're not necessarily getting the rewards, Well, here's the thing. So 100%, if you say that, if you see that, I've tried to get a formula that works, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I consider myself to be an intelligent guy. I consider myself to pick up things pretty quickly. But particularly in my industry, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's what they always say. That's a saying of what's happening. But on top of that, what I will tell you is 100%, despite the fact knowing somebody and despite the fact having education and the knowledge for the industry, it's been tough. It's been tough to get that position. I know people in the marketing industry. I know people in the pharmaceuticals industry that are working and they're like lab assistants. They're just trying to get experience and that they were unemployed. I know people in like the medical firm where, they're nurses and stuff, and nurses get employed everywhere. But now hospitals are like, we can't pay you $85,000, $90,000, which is what actual like nurses, like official, I forgot the title, nurses come out and they're like supposed to get 90,000. Now that number has dropped to 70,000. And I see it. I see multiple instances where people who are educated and read and should have the pay to go along with the stature of their education are not. Like I say it all the time to multiple people. A bachelor's degree is like almost like a high school diploma now. Like everybody has a bachelor's degree and it doesn't mean anything. And who has the money and the time to go get their master's degree or get their specialization or their PhD? Like that is not easy. And 100%, I've said it a million times that, you know, when you've lived on this earth longer, you obviously have a foothold more than what you did. I'm not one to ever complain. There have been baby boomers that have given me opportunities, who have educated me, who have given me advice, and I love that. And that's the way it should be. I know that when I get older, I'm technically a millennial. I'm going to make sure that Gen X and or Gen Z, I believe, is the next generation after that. I always try to educate people as much as I can. If I can give somebody advice, I give them advice, because sometimes advice can make a difference. People who have known me, I think they would say that Joseph is the type that does that. But I've also been in touch with baby boomers in their 50s and 60s that they don't want to give you advice. They feel a little jaded. They're like, no, I don't want to give you advice. I don't want to help you out because I've helped others and they didn't appreciate it. And all right, fair enough. Nobody has to help. Nobody's obligated to help anybody. You choose that, you make that choice. But how can a generation try to like be equal if they're not being helped along or supported? And when I say supported, I don't mean like paying your rent. I mean just like helping out with a job opportunity, helping out with an interview, helping out with introducing somebody to somebody else. And guess what? That's the question, right? How? Well, maybe the theory is that a lot of baby boomers don't want to give up that power. I'm not saying all. Like I said, my mother is a baby boomer, and other people that I know, and every baby boomer, mostly I've been in touch with, have been very nice and great to me. But I've heard situations and I've seen situations, not having to do with me directly, where I'm just like, why? So, definitely don't want to ever, I'm not coming down on the baby boomers. It's just like that equality gap, that measure is like you have more education, somehow you guys are getting paid more. And there's the question, why is that? Well, it's funny because you would think that the baby boomers hold the money and the power. So they're the ones who has to give the money and the power based on education, and maybe the education is seen as a threat of like, we're going to give up our power and money. Possibly. Just the theory, just the thought. So I love to always, after I say things like that, to look at the chat and see what people are saying about that. But look, I will say, yes, Kilo 19, burner boomers are awesome. Once again, not killing baby boomers as an entirety. I'm talking about situations where boomers who actually, there are many boomers who have actually helped my generation tremendously, and I've seen it, including it's happened to me. But what I think most people would recognize that the CEOs and the billionaires and people that have those upstanding monies are baby boomers. Would we not agree that is the case? I would think so. So not talking about Zuckerberg, because obviously he's not, but you talk about Bill Gates and you're talking about Jeff Bezos. He is. They are. Okay. So that being said, yeah, I mean, look, Holly Horn, boomer here, and Holly she's always supported me. So once again, not talking about you specifically. Snork Y2K, I am a boomer. Yes, I get it once again. But I would love to hear their perspective. I would love to hear, boomers, do you think that, what is your perspective? Why is this happening? Why is this particular situation happening? I would love to hear that. So, I want to say, definitely, going to come back and say, like us, share us. We actually, the last thing I want to touch on, and it'll take probably about 30 seconds, is that we are constantly battling the YouTube suppression. Obviously, as I look and I watch and I pay attention to the numbers as we're watching and the comments, that, 190, it was like 200 watching. Somehow we have 248 likes. So that means at least 248 people liked the show and watched the show. I understand that sometimes the numbers fluctuate, but YouTube put out a new content viewership that myself and Jordan and Jen are going through with a fine-tooth comb. If you are on YouTube, you should take a look at this, because there's some things that might affect your channel and or your lives on YouTube in terms of watching and viewing. So we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to continue to do that to make sure that we always stay on top of this, because we want to grow this channel. We want to grow Status Quo. That is our job. That is our mission, because we want to bring this message of news that is not covered to as many people as we possibly can. So definitely we are staying on top of it. If you happen to get that email from YouTube, take a look at it, because it might be something that can help you out. Definitely want to say I love welcome to the Millennial Club, Michael. And Snork Y2K want me to call in. That's great. There might come a point where we will have call in. That would be actually interesting. So but do that. But I'm definitely looking at a bunch of things. I'm looking at the comments, and it's so, I love the comments that are getting. It's a true debate and discussion. So everybody, once again, if you haven't joined us, please join us. Like the live stream, become a Status Quo member, follow us on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Join our email list. That is super important. Want to say that if you can donate to the GoFundMe, like I said, we're trying to get to 82,000 within the next couple of weeks. We're trying to get there as soon as possible. So if you have anything to donate to Status Quo and the GoFundMe, we are so close to 85,000. We don't want to fluctuate. We want to get stronger and go bigger. So that's what we're definitely do. So many stories that we want to cover. We need your funding to get there. And the best way to join membership. $5 a month can get you a membership to Status Quo. That's how we grow in the long run. That's what we definitely want to do. So if you haven't joined as a member, definitely look up to it. It's a cup of coffee a month, literally. I actually love my chai latte. I can't help it. That's the one thing I love. It's a bougie thing, but guess what? I love it. It tastes so yummy. So definitely, if you can, join us there. Right now, we are at 128 members. I would love to get to 728 members. I'd love to get to 800 members before the new year. That would be great. 1,000 is the goal before the new year, but 800 members, we're so close to that. Love to get there. So, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I hope that I filled Jordan's shoes in decently. I hope that you were entertained at the very least. Big shoes to fill from him, because this is his baby, and he is working on the story. He is plugging hard away, and I think that everybody in the Status Quo Nation is going to be seriously proud when this finally breaks. So we are looking forward to that. And once again, it's a Thursday night, Thursday. Make sure you go out there, have a good time, be safe, enjoy yourselves very much. Have a good night. Peace.